Hello everyone, my name is Jonathan Sherwood, and today I'd like to talk about my newest game, Ships Ahoy! When you look at Ships Ahoy, it's pretty apparent that it's more or less just an Asteroids clone. I wanted to work on this project so I could have more completed work under my belt. Spending as much time as I have on my bigger game made me realize that I wasn't learning from constant iteration. For example, once I made the main menu once, I never touched it again. Having not even completed it, I don't have a credits page or scorekeeping or anything of the sort. Working on Ships Ahoy gave me the chance to quickly pump out a game that is both fully complete, but also quick and simple. However, it was still important that I wanted it to be unique from just another Asteroids clone. This is why I made a few different design choices. To start, I didn't want players to be able to just rapid fire in a circle to accrue points. While the original Asteroids makes that harder by having the obstacles split and increase in speed, I thought it would take away from the visuals if there were thousands of ships on the screen at one time. They also added a drift that I didn't think looked as good in Ships Ahoy, so instead I added the score system that only increases as you gather chests. With this, the player is forced to not only navigate around the screen, but they also have to be wary not to shoot too fast in case they hit their own chests. Another element that looks frustrating at first, but can be a bit of a boon once you get familiar with the controls, is that you shoot off the side of the ship. Unlike Asteroids, where you're pretty much safe flying forward because of anything ahead of you can be shot down, in Ships Ahoy you have to instead plot your directions carefully for both aiming and surviving. Funny enough, the steel ship that occasionally shows up was actually a request from someone who donated to the game from my itch page, which I'll link below. All they said was that having different colored ships would be fun, and I thought about what I could do with that. I didn't want anything that felt like it stood out in the world, like having a bright green wooden boat, so instead I went for a more modern ship that can withstand cannon fire. It works as a good obstacle for what you're firing at, but also destroys any other ship in its path, which removes the chests as potential points. One thing I added on the back end was that the level also progressively gets harder. Every 30-ish seconds, another ship is allowed to be on the screen. This means that instead of 3 at any given moment at the beginning, it becomes 4, 5, 6, and so on. I added a soft buffer that also increases how long it takes in between each ship so that the map didn't get flooded in, 1 minute. However, it does offer more opportunities to gain points with how many ships are on the screen, which means talented players can accrue points even faster and faster than someone who dies at the beginning. Another thing I wanted to add was that you don't get to leave the screen and appear on the other end, which is pretty common in games like this. Instead, I wanted it to be that the player was destroyed when leaving the borders, so that the world felt finite. You're a pirate looting chests in a specific trade route that has no reason to leave. They loot the smaller ships for treasure and shoot down the naval vessels in order to secure their place in the ocean. Honestly, at this point, I'm just kind of impressed. I've never actually gotten this high of a score before, and now that I'm recording it, it's on here. I'm kind of excited to see how high it gets. Anyway, so a lot of thought was also put into the player feedback. Every little thing needs to communicate with the player what they're doing or accomplishing. It seems kind of trivial in a game like this, but even an Asteroids clone can have dozens of little details that stand out to the player. There's the obvious big ones like the score in the middle of the screen, but even the small ones like a negative tone when chests are destroyed or score popping up when you earn it tell the player, shooting the big guy has value, they offer score too, or okay, so when I pick up a chest it pops up a score counter, but shooting it makes it disappear and no score counter appears. That must mean I didn't earn score for shooting it. It was little additions like this that make me satisfied with how everything turned out. Couple that with making all the art assets myself, and I think I was able to create something that uniquely resembles a game I would make rather than just an Asteroids clone. I'm very proud of how it turned out, and I'd love to hear any feedback anyone has about it. I'd also be curious if anyone could beat my high score. Let me know if you do, and maybe you'll get a request in the next game I make. This was Ships Ahoy. Thanks for watching. Dang, 50,000.